If you're a longtime Reno resident or otherwise have been familiar with the area for years, you're probably going to say, oh yeah, the mural. I've known about that forever. But if you're new to the area or outside of it, or just weren't around when this was reinstalled here at the Livestock Events Center 20 years ago, then this episode is for you. This is one of Reno's most treasured historic artifacts that harkens back to the classic era of Reno. And we're going to look at its history starting in downtown in 1949 to where it sits today, here on this edition of the Reno You Know. At one time, this was the second most photographed thing in Reno, next to the several incarnations of the Reno Arch. This mural was the brainchild of the Smith family at Harold's Club and their advertising agency. This mural is 35 feet tall and 80 feet wide, and it was commissioned and installed on the facade of Harold's Club right in the heart of downtown Reno on Virginia Street in 1949. And I could go on at length about Harold's Club. I did a full-length documentary film on Harold's Club. It's available on DVD. If you're interested, I will leave a link to my eBay store in the description of this video. And that is the only commercial that I'm going to give you today on that. For context, though, let me summarize in a nutshell. Harold's Club was founded in 1935 by Harold Smith Sr. and his brother Raymond, and it became world famous and helped make Reno world famous with the guidance and leadership of Harold and Raymond's father, Raymond I. Pappy Smith. Other operators in town stood in awe of Harold's Club accomplishments, and Bill Harrah himself considered the Smith family an inspiration and a model for success in the gaming business. It ultimately became the world's largest casino, and it adopted an Old West theme in its early days. Harold's Club was hugely influential in our community, and it was said once that if you lived in Reno long enough, Harold's Club would have touched your life in some fashion or way. Maybe they hired your mom or your grandma as a dealer. Maybe they gave you a full-ride scholarship to the University of Nevada. Maybe they paid for a new wing on your school or retired the debt of your church. The Smith family at Harold's Club was as philanthropic in their own community as they were successful. But no business lasts forever, and in 1970, Harold Smith Sr. decided to sell Harold's Club after the passing of his father, the guiding light of Harold's Club, Pappy Smith, who passed away in 1967. So Harold Smith Sr. sold Harold's Club to Howard Hughes in 1970, and the Hughes Corporation and a couple of subsequent owners operated Harold's Club all the way up till 1995. In the late 1940s, business was booming at Harold's Club and in Reno in general. The war was over, servicemen had returned home, and everyone was looking forward to a bright future. And if you wanted gambling, shows, and all sorts of outdoor recreation, you came to the entertainment capital of America, Reno, Nevada. Prior to 1949, the Smith family wanted something special to help the Western-themed club celebrate the centennial year of the 1849 gold rush. A large mural was decided on that would cover most of the entire facade of the club facing Virginia Street.
There was a mural on the face of Harold's Club that illustrated in full color. It was a 3-story high mural. It illustrated a Western or like a Donner Party covered wagon group around a fire, and the slogan above the mural said, "Dedicated in all humility for those who blazed the trail before us." And so the club took on a Western atmosphere, even on some of the interior decorating. The gun collection, the basic motive was Western, inside and out.
Several years ago, I was at the Nevada Historical Society helping them go through their Herald's Club collection, and I found this early suggestion of what the artwork might look like, perhaps illustrated by their ad people, the Tom Wilson ad agency. They ultimately hired an artist named Theodore McFall, who would paint the concept art for the huge scene that would be transferred to individual panels and installed on a framework attached to the building. One of the coolest things I found in the Historical Society's collection is an early rendition of the mural, possibly sketched out by Ted McFall himself, and there appear to be notes written in red that suggest changes, additions, and deletions, again possibly made by the Wilson ad agency. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, please consider subscribing. If I'm able to grow this channel, that simply means better content for you down the road. And if you'd also please click the little like button on your way out, that helps the video get more traction and allows more people to see it. Thank you. After the final artwork was approved, another artist from San Francisco was retained, and his name was Sergeant Claude Johnson, and his job was to sculpt and paint the entire scene onto individual panels that could be trucked over to Reno from the Bay Area. And this was a huge undertaking. All in all, there were 180 separate panels that were painted in remarkable detail for their size. The Payne Mahoney Company in Oakland, California was retained to fire each of the individual panels, and the resulting porcelain panels were very color fast and durable, which they had to be to survive years and years in the Nevada sunshine and our weather. And it's pretty remarkable that this mural looks as good today as it did when it was installed in downtown in 1949. There was a grand unveiling of the mural one October night with fireworks and music by the Sons of the Pioneers. It was a glorious sight. The campfire glowed and the water in the waterfall rippled down, borrowing an animation process from the lighted columns of old Wurlitzer jukeboxes. The layout of the entire scene by Theodore McFall was later commended by art historians. McFall had to consider that this enormous mural could only be seen from as far as across the street and not from a distance, so he laid out the scene to be appropriate for the viewer from wherever they viewed it at close range. And so the mural became an integral part of the downtown Reno landscape, and it was seen and recognized by thousands, dare I say millions, of people at this very location over the years. And here's my photo of it that I took in 1986 as a googly-eyed 22-year-old newcomer to Reno. And the end came in 1995 with the closing of Herald's Club, 60 years after opening its doors. Harrah's purchased the property with the intent of integrating it into the Harrah's operations, and the buildings had to come down. There was a movement to save the mural panels by preservationists, including the Reno Historic Resources Commission, the Reno Rodeo Association, and the Herald's Club Pioneers, which was an association of former employees that gathered together to keep friendships and the missions of the Smith family alive. Harrah's itself agreed that the mural was important to Reno and it should be preserved, but Harrah's was as surprised as anyone when the company contracted to start the demolition moved up their time frame and started to disassemble and take down the mural panels in September of 1999. This began a years-long stretch in time where there was much discussion and debate as to what to do with this art piece, the panels of which were wrapped in foam and placed in storage by the city. It wasn't an easy question to answer, if for no other reason, the sheer size of this thing. It's 35 by 80 feet. It couldn't go just anywhere. And there was another problem: the depiction of Native Americans in the mural. It stood in the heart of downtown for 50 years without a concern or a discussion, but at this time some people questioned whether it was politically correct to show the natives in various states of native dress and appearing to possibly attack the settlers in the scene. The city council had to decide whether it should be displayed at all, and they made a request to the Reno-Sparks Indian Colony to issue a statement regarding their position regarding the Native American depictions. And I can really appreciate and admire how the Indian Colony handled it. They came back and said, Our position is, we're not going to take a position. They said that while the depictions were probably historically inaccurate and the figures looked like they came straight out of central casting in Hollywood, they thought that there might be some problems between the individual city council members, and they didn't want to get into it. So they just said, we're not going to weigh in on this. You guys figure it out. There were some discussions about displaying it on the soon-to-be-built $40 million Reno Events Center, which had plenty of wall space, but this was a new contemporary building, and there was some dissent about displaying essentially an antique on a new modern building. So that plan was shut down, and it became a big question mark on what to do with it for several years. The owner of the Cal Neva Casino in North Lake Tahoe offered to take it, but too many folks appealed for it to stay in Reno. Finally, it was arranged for the mural to be permanently installed where it is today at the Livestock Events Center. Jim Carpenter of the Reno Rodeo Association and a gal named Donna Piccolo were instrumental in raising $200,000 and getting donations from several construction and sign companies to make this happen in 2005. And the companies that participated are listed on this plaque that's below the mural today. This wonderful artwork is best seen in person, so if you're local or the next time you're going to be in town, come on by the Livestock Events Center and take a gander at this wonderful memory of Harold's Club. All right, thanks for hanging out with us again on this episode. I sure hope you appreciated the value of the mural that we have at the Livestock Events Center. And again, if you're local or you're coming to town, drive by and check it out. Sometimes the gate's open, you can just drive in. You might have to park on the street and walk in, but either way, it's accessible to the public, as far as I understand. And we are finishing off this episode at 10 Tour Brewing and Distilling on Mill Street near downtown Reno. They've been in operation for a few years, and they do beer brewing and vacuum distilling here. And if you look through a window next to the bar, you can see their brewing and distilling process. It's pretty awesome. And they operate in a building that, as I understand it, used to be a grocery. And so that basement lower area probably housed grocery storage back in the day, but now it's brewing and distilling. And today I'm enjoying a beer they entitled Groovy Baby. It's a English strong ale. It comes in at 6.4%, and it tastes pretty wonderful on a almost summer day. It's the temperatures are getting up into late spring, early summer temperatures, so I'm glad to see that. That's all I have for you today. I appreciate you hanging out again. And please check out our Facebook page. You can see behind the scenes and extras that I don't normally include on a normal episode. So just search Facebook for the Reno You Know on YouTube. There you go. Thanks again. And as Harold S. Smith Sr. of Harold's Club always said, I'm with you. Cheers.